Rather than tying up loose ends, the arrival of the Fantastic Four will likely be something the MCU and we are not ready for, especially if the rumors of the movie being an even bigger hit than what Avengers Endgame ever was, with Marvel's first family being the start of something even bigger than themselves. Much like how their debut was the kickstart of the Silver Age of Marvel Comics. Announced back in 2019, the upcoming Fantastic Four movie, the reboot Marvel Studios is currently working on, will probably be the biggest movie of the entire MCU. And before you go on and say something along the lines of how that's impossible after the Infinity Saga, well, there might be some things that we still don't know about. Some things the movie will entail, which will not only bring a lot of new things to the table, but also so many changes that will reshape the entire MCU as we know it. This hugely anticipated movie has to deliver because the fans have been kept in the dark for so long regarding the details about the movie, with so many elements of it still unknown, despite the confirmation from 3 years ago. And we know why the hype is so big. After all, they are Marvel's first family that has seen a lot of success in the comics, but not so much in the live action, since the 3 movies so far have all managed to ruin what makes this family so special and not capture the essence of it. The movie, as it looks like, is still in early development, so with that in mind, we should not expect the movie to release anytime soon, both because Marvel's schedule is booked up until mid-2023, but also because the studio has already confirmed 4 new dates in 2024 for their upcoming projects: February 16th, May 3rd, July 26th, and November 18th. And we think that one of these dates we mentioned will be reserved for the long-awaited Fantastic Four movie. This is how things stand right now, with many more concrete details hopefully coming soon. One of the big talking points about the movie is also the casting group, a question that has risen to popularity after John Krasinski's Reed Richards from Earth 838, who appeared as a member of the Illuminati team in the latest Doctor Strange movie, with the main timeline in which all of the MCU movies we have enjoyed so far belonging to Earth 616. The first thing to mention is that despite Krasinski's appearance as the infamous character, his appearance should not hint towards the notion of him being the Reed Richards from the Earth 616 universe, with the role of the character still wide open, with Krasinski being just one of the few candidates that Marvel will eventually pick from. So far, nothing has been confirmed about any of the family members and which actors will portray their roles. And considering that Marvel has some big plans for the movie, we are not at all surprised. The other mystery about the movie is the plot of the movie, with us left empty-handed, as we don't know the premise on which the movie will take place, as well as the fact that the origin story of the Fantastic Four still being unknown, because if they were part of the MCU already, where have they been throughout the events that almost destroyed the entire planet Earth when Thanos came? Whatever the case may be, we are surely going to get an explanation about the team's whereabouts and their history in the MCU, something that will open up a lot of doors for any future projects of the MCU, and how Marvel will decide to use those loose threads. And the last thing we want to note before moving forward is the director dilemma. When the movie was announced, it was also said that Jon Watts will be the one to helm things, the director of Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy. However, news came through that confirmed that he left the project altogether, which seems to be a problem for Marvel, with the studio still in the search for a director for their movie. And the list of possible candidates as of right now includes the likes of Edgar Wright, Matthew Vaughn, the Russo brothers, Justin Lin, John Krasinski, and Sam Raimi. So why will the MCU Fantastic Four movie be the biggest of them all? So far, the MCU has done a phenomenal job of building up its events in advance in the past years through the movies they released each year, and in recent years the shows that go along with them, with all of them taking part in the same universe. Before Phase 4 of the MCU, where the events of the universe take place in the present, the big thing was Avengers Endgame, which culminated in 10 years of storytelling that closed with multiple story threads from various movies. Everything looked like something impossible, a feat that no one could live up to. However, with the success of that movie, In today's world, we can see that the upcoming big MCU will be impactful rather than bombastic. And with all of that in mind, we can most certainly say that the next big thing will be the Fantastic Four movie, with most of the setup for the movie traced back to the most recent projects of the MCU. The Fantastic Four was the first superhero comic that started the widely known Silver Age of Marvel Comics, which is why Marvel is very cautious about their take on the live-action iteration of one of the most popular families in the universe. The slow build-up, as we mentioned before, probably started with Reed Richards' appearance in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness movie, which in itself was a very exciting prospect for all of us, as we were able to see the character interact with other big names from the MCU. However, we think the cameo came a little bit late after the building blocks, because the adventures of the Fantastic Four are also one of the most crucial ones in the Marvel Universe, because they are the biggest bridge between Earthbound heroes and more cosmic occurrences. This is also why we think Marvel Studios decided to introduce the multiverse and Kang the Conqueror first, and only then the members individually one by one, or in this case, in their standalone movie as a group. The other two very crucial things we already know about from the events of the MCU are the existence of the Celestials, who they are and what role they play, as well as the Skrulls, with the two possible being closely connected to the Fantastic Four than most of the other members we already have in the MCU. And last but not least, there's also time travel in the MCU, something the group has dabbled in throughout their history in the comics. All of these events have occurred at different points in the MCU, and we had enough time to digest each and every one of them and not think too much about their importance or how they will change the MCU forever. And then the Fantastic Four's introduction came, something that will likely explore these new worlds and give us enough information to explain everything, with all of it pointing to the presence of the group. Their debut in the MCU could also come with a lot of tasks in front of them, all of which will lead to big future events. For instance, the Secret Wars event from the comics that have been rumored to be coming to the live-action MCU. In the end, everything could also be revealed that the entire MCU Phase 4 was sort of like an introduction for the Fantastic Four, everything put together for their arrival, something we would not be surprised of witnessing. The importance of Avengers Endgame was seen as something that brought everything together. And the next big thing we think Marvel is gearing up to with the Fantastic Four movie is to bring things to the next level, with the movie itself, instead of tying up loose ends, to be a fixed point in the franchise where everything will change forever. The universe expanding to new venues, and at the core of everything, Marvel's first family, of course, guiding us through these vast new worlds and realities we didn't know anything about. Adding up to that, their existence will also see them face new, bigger threats that will probably tease even larger events and enemies. With all of the new things that they will bring to the table, feeding the MCU with so many stories to tell. On a related note, tell us down in the comments below, what are your thoughts on Marvel's first family? Where would you like to see the movie go? As well as what kind of an explanation you think we will get from Marvel about their absence from the most dangerous events in the MCU so far. But also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you would like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.